Hey, I'm Dr. Jason Barker with the Natural Athletes Clinic. Are you still carb loading before a big race? Well, if you are, I'm going to hopefully convince you that you don't need to do that anymore because it's kind of fallen out of favor and there are more efficient ways of getting energy on board now. So I got the idea for this video because my kids are in high school sports right now, and I've noticed before every swim meet they've had this winter, the parents have organized a big pasta dinner the night before so they can be all loaded up on carbs so they have energy the next day. Well, before I tell you about that, I'm going to give you a little history about carb loading. So it was kind of discovered back in the 1960s by a couple of Scandinavian researchers who were interested in looking at glycogen stores in rested versus exercise muscles. Now, glycogen is your body's primary stored form of fuel. It's derived from carbohydrates. It's packed in our muscles and it's packed in our liver, and we've got about 24 hours worth of glycogen sitting around in our body so that we have that immediate source of fuel before we dip into other energy sources like our fat. So back to the researchers, what these guys did was they did some one-legged exercises to exhaustion. They did some muscle biopsies. They found, of course, in the exercise muscle that it was depleted of glycogen. And then what they did was a 3-day heavy carbohydrate diet, repeated those biopsies, and they found, lo and behold, in that exercise muscle that the glycogen stores were about 1.5 times that in that rested muscle. So this gave the idea of depleting carbohydrates, or depleting glycogen rather, loading up on carbs, and then you would be super compensated with glycogen. So did some more studies. Athletes started using this and carb loading was born. And at the risk of dating myself, back when I was in high school running track and cross country competitively, this is when they started giving us the pasta dinners the night before. And you still see this go on today, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, anything like that. You almost always get a ticket to go to the pasta feed dinner the night before. So problem with this, there's two of them, and that is that even if you're going at race pace, a competitive pace, you've got enough glycogen on board to fuel you for about 75 to 90 minutes before that glycogen depletion becomes a limiting energy factor in your body. So in other words, you've got enough energy on board right now if you've eaten regularly over the last week or so to go out and run as hard as you can. You don't need to replace with a sports drink or a bar or gel or anything else like that. So you've got enough energy to do that. The other issue is that when you carb load like that, for every gram of glycogen that your body creates, you're going to store about 2.7 grams of water. So this means that if you went to the pasta dinner last night and loaded up on a bunch of carbs, you're going to weigh about another 2 to 3% more the next morning because your body has held onto that extra water. So waking up feeling kind of bloated and logy and trying to run a 5K or 10K is going to be detrimental to your time and your performance. So my suggestion is to skip the carbo load, just eat a regular diet. Now, one thing you need to pay attention to, though, is what we're focusing on these days is just making the right carbohydrates available for the right situation. So if you've got a race in the morning, you may need to wake up about 4 hours before and eat some food to replace the glycogen that you've just burned as a matter of course of metabolism over the last 12 hours that you've been fasting, okay? Because you can lose about 50% of that glycogen overnight just sleeping. So if you wake up, you're already at a little bit of a deficit, so you eat a few hours before, so you've got time to assimilate it. Then you're topped off before you go and run that race. And of course, if you're going to be running or racing or riding or doing whatever for more than an hour, hour and 15, 90 minutes, then you need to have those carbs readily available, and that's having a bar or a gel or something like that. So this is going to help you be more efficient in your energy availability. You're not going to be watered down with excess water on board, and you're going to have a cleaner and sharper performance if you do that. Now, what this video is not about is about fat adaptation and skipping carbs entirely. That's a whole nother subject. So this is primarily based on carb loading only. So hopefully you can use some of these ideas. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Share it with your carb loading buddies, especially the ones who like to go to the dinners before the 5Ks and the 10K, stuff that's kind of generally done under an hour. And subscribe to our channel.